Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sophia Wachtel, and this is my cat, Crimes. She's here for moral support today. It's the week after Christmas, and I'm a little bit stuffed up, so hopefully that doesn't come across too much in the audio. Hopefully you can still understand me and hear me. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about editing, because I remember when I first started writing and when I really got into my book, I was nervous that editing was going to take something that I loved and turn it into something totally different. You know, is the editor going to change everything that I love about the story? So for the purpose of this, I'm going to talk about a middle grade book that I wrote. Middle grade is like ages 8 through 12-ish. So it's a contemporary fantasy novel with vampires and a little girl who is not a vampire, but the monsters think she's one of them. So it's a book that I wrote for NaNoWriMo back in 2024, I think it was. And I wrote it in about a 2-week span, which was insane. I don't think I got anything else done in those 2 weeks. It was just writing. I don't think my husband saw me at all. By the time I was done with it, I needed a break from writing for a while, which was good because I like to take some time after I'm done with a first draft and just put it away for a couple weeks, maybe a month, maybe more. So I wrote that in about 2 weeks. Actually, I got to this point, I was probably 3/4 of the way done, and this is just a funny story. I got about 3/4 of the way done, and I just ran into a wall. Could not figure out how I wanted the story to go. I was kind of just slogging through it. I wasn't getting anywhere. And I'm just going to show you guys this. It was about in around here, chapter 22. I had been writing the whole book in third person past tense, and I got 3/4 of the way through and I realized this book needs to be first person present. And so the last quarter of my book I wrote, that's my Roomba going now. I hope that's not too loud. So anyways, I switched to first person, and it was just so easy to write after that. And the block that I had was just gone. So sometimes you need to switch your tenses, which can be annoying because then, in my future drafts, I had to rewrite everything to make it work, but it was worth it for me in the end. So after I wrote my first draft, I set it aside for a little bit, came back to it later, and fixed the tenses, found some plot holes, rewrote some things. Once I got it to a point where I felt like I can't think of anything to change, I had a developmental editor work on it. And this was something I won through an Instagram contest. I hadn't been thinking of doing developmental editing before because it is kind of expensive. But I think it can be worth it if maybe if it's your first book or you struggle with plot and pacing. So anyways, I sent in my book to get developmental edited, just so you can get a kind of an idea of it's not as scary as it sounds to get your book edited. It's not taking it and changing it. It's taking it and making it the best it can be. So, her company is Oakmoss Editorial. Kate, who did my developmental editing, she did a lovely job. I think she's kind of on a break right now, not doing anything, but check her out if she ever starts editing again. So this is the editorial letter, and so it kind of talks about, she gives me, here's a key for when I'm going through. Green is things she likes, pink is things that could need some revisions, yellow is suggestions and questions, blue is bigger points. So she focused on pacing, character voices, tense changes, and POV issues, which is something I told her I wanted her to kind of focus on a little bit. And then she goes through and gives me some tips. You can read those if you want. Take your time, take breaks. And this part is so important. Everything in this letter is a suggestion. This is your manuscript and your story, so if you feel like any of my suggestions don't fit the story you're trying to tell, do not feel like you need to implement them. And this is something that my line copy editor also says, and I think any good editor is going to tell you, editing is a suggestion. Like, yes, it's very important to listen to those suggestions, but in the end, it is just a suggestion. And if it changes your story, if the changes that they're talking about change too much of what you wanted your story to be about, then just ignore them. Because it's still your story in the end. So, and then this part is good to remember too. Remember that getting a lot of feedback does not mean that your writing is bad. It just means that I want to help you make your manuscript the best it can be. So, we're going to go into the next part. This is my, we're going to create a new copy. This is the manuscript that I sent and that she kind of like wrote all over. And you're going to see there's a lot of highlights. There's a lot of notes. And that doesn't mean it's a bad story. It just means that she is helping me turn it into a great story. So yeah, look at all of the different things. That can be very overwhelming when you first open something for edits. Is just seeing all of the different stuff lighting up your manuscript, all of the different highlights and underlines, and it can be very scary thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible writer. Look at all of the things that she highlighted. But no, that's not the point. It's trying to make your book the best it can be. So just thought I'd show that like, you're not a bad writer if your manuscript is totally lit up when you get it back. So we're going to close that for now. So when I was getting my book edited, I actually ordered this book, Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. I would actually highly suggest it. I don't follow the plot structure for everything that I write, but it is a good thing to read through and kind of to hear the different ways that you can structure a story. And this one is a good one. And when I got my developmental editing back, she had kind of followed the same Save the Cat plot structure. So it was good to kind of know what she was talking about when I was going through and reading it. So opening image, she talks about the catalyst, debate, fun and games, and the midpoint, bad guys close in, all these different things. If I hadn't read this book, I would have been a little bit more lost. Like, she explained it very well, but I think this helped me kind of understand, like, oh, like, that's why maybe I need this scene to happen earlier, or this scene isn't super important, or, you know, let's make this a little bit more emotional, so it hits a little bit harder, or all those different things. So highly suggest this book. So after my developmental editing, I went through and edited another couple drafts actually, to get it again to where I wanted it to be. I listened to, I think, just about most everything that she suggested was very important and very necessary. And there was things that hurt a little bit, to be like, oh, I don't want to cut this. I worked so hard on this scene, but realizing it doesn't really service my story well, then, you know, maybe something else would make it a little bit better. So this was a very helpful part of doing my edits. And I don't know if I would ever do a developmental edit again, but it really did give me the tools to know how to, and like all the things that she told me I can now implement into future books. So I think that was very important. So again, I did more edits after my developmental edit, and then I reached out to beta readers. So beta readers are people who will read the book for you, read your manuscript when it's not completely done. It's not the final version, but it's very close to the final version. And they will read through it, and they will be able to point out maybe pacing or plot points, plot holes, things that didn't work, things that did work. I found some people through Reddit. I think I found a couple through Instagram as well. Let me look if I can find. Okay, so here's some of the questions I gave, about the opening. Did you find the first paragraph and page compelling? Did they make you want to keep reading? If not, what was the problem? So that's something that I asked them, and they gave me good answers for. Was the ending satisfying and emotionally fulfilling? Anything that didn't get tied up or you wish had been explored further? Did you have a favorite character? Did you connect with anybody or not? Was the story interesting overall? Did you have a favorite chapter, least favorite chapter? Things like that. If one person says they hate this part of the story, but 10 other people say they love it, maybe you should listen to the 10 people and not the one person. If, 5 people are saying this part was really confusing and 2 people are saying, this was really clear, I totally understand it, maybe fix it a little bit so that the majority of people will be able to understand it. So I would highly, highly suggest getting beta readers. They do a great job of helping you realize things that your story needs help with, things that you're doing great, things that could be better. So definitely do beta readers. So after I got the feedback back from my beta readers, I think I had maybe 8 of them, something like that. I go through and I see what are the majority of them saying. And took that feedback and I did another draft. And after I did that draft and I went through it again just to kind of make sure that I had my book edited to the best of my ability, spelling, grammar, dialogue tags, everything to the best of my ability as someone who is not a professional editor. Then that's when you can go and get a professional editor. So I get my copy and line editing done at the same time. The woman who does it, her name is EJL Editing, is her company. So she has done my Project Phoenix books, and I had her do this one as well. So this is the editorial letter. So she talks about different things that kind of she noticed throughout my whole manuscript maybe needed some work. So action and dialogue tags, comma splices. For some reason I was messing up with those in this one. Crunch words. This is a hard part of editing, at least for me. It is, crunch words are words that you use a lot in your manuscript. Like for me, let me see what mine were. So the words actually, basically, totally, probably, I used those about 55 times. Variations of the word seem, like seem, seems, seemed, I used those 60 times. The word feel, feeling, felt, feels, I used 170 times. That's a lot. 195 times I used the word just, so that is one of my bad crunch words. Oof. The word look, looks, looked, look, 325 times. So, ugh. Those crunch words are, I think everybody has them, but it is kind of jarring sometimes to see the numbers next to them. 325 times for the word look and looks and looked, that sort of thing. That's a lot. So when I'm going through editing, I have to go through, and she does have it highlighted. Let me go through, find my marked up. Okay, and you're gonna see here just how much my manuscript is marked up, just like with the developmental editing. So the different colors, like this one here, breath, I use that one a lot. Just, look, feel. So she has them highlighted so I can go through and rewrite my sentence to remove that crunch word, fix it, adjust it. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it can stay in there, but maybe I don't want 325 of the same word. So anyways, you can see there's a lot of things marked up in here. And again, that doesn't mean that I am a bad writer. It just means there are things that should be fixed. So she is trying to help me create the best book that I can. And it is not anything to be upset about. if you have a lot of markup on your editing when you get it back. So I'm gonna close that for now. Okay, so like with my developmental editing, here she says the same thing in my copy and line edits. As you know, all my suggestions are merely that, suggestions. You have the final say regarding your story, and you are not obligated to make any or all the changes I recommend. So, I think that is very important to remember, that the story is still your story. The job of the editor is not to change it into something that, you know, fits their voice. It's trying to help you find your voice even better and to make your story the best it can be. Thanks again for following along. Hopefully you learned something. I'm thinking next time I might talk a little bit about covers and the experience I went through finding a cover artist and just going through the steps to turn my idea into a finished cover. If that's something you're interested in, follow along. If you've got something else you're wondering about, different questions you have, put them in the comments below and I will try to get to them. Thank you.